Deconverted Man here. A special thanks to Rationality Rules for mentioning this guy so that I can put myself and my brain through looking at this guy's stuff and then doing what I'm doing now, which is analyzing it for logical fallacies, pointing out the stuff, and just complaining about it, and the pure existential terror that will be had in attempting to do this. Why? Why? Why is this a thing? All right. Anyway, so this guy, Stephen Molyneux, I don't know. I guess that's his. I don't know what it's like. Anyways, he wrote this book that, like, is trying to argue for a thing called universally preferable behavior, or UPB, and he has a thing that resembles an argument, but it's not, and I'm gonna go over it, and that's what this video is. It's me doing that live because just because. Okay, so all right. Premise one: we both exist. Well, I mean, we're already starting off great here. If I choose to debate with you, or even if you didn't, but okay, I gotta just, I'm sorry. I have to just read it first and then make my comments. So when I'm ready to make my comments, you'll see my face. When I'm just reading it, it will just be the words on the screen. There we go. Okay, that's what I'll do. Yeah. If I choose to debate with you, then I must necessarily, I don't know why I did that voice, then I necessarily must accept that we both exist. If I believe that I exist, but you do not, then debating makes no sense and would be the action of a madman. If I were to start arguing with my reflection in a mirror, I should be sedated, not debated. Well, I mean, okay. So you have to accept that. I mean, okay. Do you have to accept that both people exist? I mean, in what way do you mean that? Like, I could hypothetically debate, uh, uh, uh people that just have avatars, and for all I know, that I'm debating an AI, or some who knows what I'm debating. There, I guess you grant that they probably exist. I suppose I would just be more cautious with my terminology here. Yeah, I exist, and does this really need to be a premise? I mean, this is an axiom. We exist, or we think that we exist, or reality exists, and I don't know that I'd have to. Why is this a premise? Like, why wouldn't this just be an axiom? It's really weird. But then, as far as the mirror thing, like, well, you could debate yourself, and doing so isn't, like, necessarily a madman's endeavor. And isn't that kind of poisoning the well? And we're only on premise one, and we're not doing so great. But I mean, I guess, sure, we both exist. All right. The senses have the capacity for accuracy. Since human beings cannot communicate psychically, all debates necessarily involve the evidence of senses. Writing presupposes sight, talking requires hearing, braille requires touch. Thus, any proposition that depends upon the invalidity of senses automatically self-destructs. Man. Well, no. The senses have the capacity for accuracy. That's correct. But the senses also have the capacity to not be accurate. And I'm not so sure that writing presupposes anything, because just because you're writing doesn't necessarily mean you have sight. you could hypothetically learn to write without sight. Would maybe it presupposes that you know how to write. Talking requires hearing. No, not really. People can learn to talk without hearing what they're. I mean, Braille requires touch. Okay, I think that one's more solid. Yeah, okay, we'll go with that one. I mean, that's fine. But the invalid. How do we want to say that? The senses can be invalid. They're not always invalid, mind you, but they can be. They're not perfect. They're flawed. So basically, you're saying like, are you saying that senses? You're saying that they must be, or they have the capacity for accuracy, but they also have the capacity to fail us. Sight can slowly fail without failing completely, and so can hearing and touch and so on and so forth. So you have to recognize that at some level, don't you? But you're saying, like, if you have any argument or any proposition that depends upon the invalidity of the senses, that will self-destruct. But the truth of the matter is, our senses aren't always valid. And so we have to be cautious with how we term things. So it seems already like you're loading this into, like, well, your senses are going to have to be reliable, and you're going to have to just trust that they're reliable or something. I don't know. I mean, I just see possible problems with this particular premise. And again, I'm not sure why it's a premise, because if it is a premise, it has no connection to the first premise. But okay, then you should have a conclusion, right? Oh, wait, no, it's premise 3. It's not a conclusion. Of course not. Why would it be a conclusion? Language has the capacity for meaning. Similar to premise 2, since all arguments require language, any proposition that rests on the premise that language is meaningless is ultimately disproven. No, because not all language has coherent meaning, or meaning in that you would necessarily understand or comprehend. The word or phrase might only mean something to that individual or to that group, and you might not know what it means, but that doesn't mean, well, okay, you're saying that if it's meaningless, well, it could be meaningless. You could have words that have no meaning, but the whole language, I suppose, would have to have some meaning in there. But again, this is just kind of no nuance here, and I'm wary of that. It's just, I find that to be a really odd way to frame this without recognizing the natural language is one of the most complicated, unresolved issues that we have. Using language to argue that language has no meaning, it's like, why is he doing an analogy? I mean, okay, whatever. It's like using a courier to send a message, arguing that couriers never deliver messages. No, but I mean, sometimes couriers don't deliver the message. So then what? The analogy just is bad. Here's another premise. Oh, God. Correlation requires universal preference, or correct. Sorry. Wow. I can't read. Correction requires universal preferences. What the hell is a universal preference? Okay, so this shouldn't be a premise. This should be a conclusion. Actually, you should have already had your conclusion, and it doesn't follow from 1, 2, or 3. So is this the conclusion? Why doesn't it say conclusion? Oh, good, there's more premises. Oh, wonderful, lovely. If you correct me on an error that I have made, you are implicitly accepting the fact that it would be better for me to correct my error. So you can read my mind now? Can you read my mind? You can read my mind and my intentionality. That's called mind reading or special knowledge. You don't know what the intention of the other person is. You have no idea what they're thinking or feeling or why they're doing anything. Maybe they're just telling you that you're wrong because you're actually wrong. That's a possibility for you to consider. And it might not just be because they think it would be better for you to fix your error, but it might be. Okay. And so, oh, jeez. I mean, just, your preference for me to correct my error is not subjective, but objective and universal. No, because I'm a singular person, and so you can't extract anything universal from a single person's statement or idea. So even if it's the case that you absolutely did know that I'm correcting your error because I think it would be better for you to not commit that error, that doesn't therefore mean that there's a universal ought out there that exists that says that we should all correct, that it's better to correct errors out there. I mean, yeah, it'd be great if that was true. Man, that would be wonderful if we could demonstrate that it was true, that it's good for us to correct errors. But we can't say that as a universal claim unless we can show it to be a universal claim. And the only way that we could ever hope to show that it was a universal thing would be to demonstrably demonstrate it through what? I mean, we couldn't use empirical methodology. We couldn't use repeatable tests. We'd have to use a valid and sound argument, but we couldn't possibly hope to use a valid and sound argument because we wouldn't have any evidence for that valid and sound argument. So we would be resting our assumptions upon absolutely nothing, which means we can't do it for this thing. It's not a universal idea. It just isn't. You can't just say it is and then hope that I mean, that's not how things work. So this is kind of presuppositionalism, isn't it? This is presup. This is absolutely presup. This is nothing but presup. Okay. Then he's going to kind of potentially straw man. Great. You don't say to me, you should change your opinion to mine because I would prefer it. Hey, you should change your opinion to mine because I would prefer it. I just said the thing that you said I wouldn't say. Bite me. You should correct your opinion because it's objectively incorrect. That assumes I know that it's objectively incorrect. It depends what your opinion is. It also depends what we're talking about. Maybe we're talking about whether, whether ice cream is delicious or not. I mean, we don't know what we're, does this mean that there's always a correct stance to take on things that are inherently subjective? If not, why not just make it clear that you're only talking about objective things it just like gravity exists. There's something that's like, yeah, that exists. Okay, great. All right. Yeah. Oh, my error does not arise from merely disagreeing with you, but as a result of my deviance from an objective standard of truth. Well, if by truth you mean whatever is real, and you want to be saying things or doing things that are real, and also I want you to be doing things that are real because for whatever reason you decided to tie this into my desires, would have been a better argument if you just relied on your own ideas and didn't include my participation, because by including my participation in this way, you've created potential strawmen. I might not feel any given way about any of this. So now what? I might not care, or not even know you exist. But like, oh, hey, you corrected my error. That must mean you want me to be correct. No, I just wanted you to shut up, and I thought it would be better for you to shut up than keep talking and making yourself look stupid. It wasn't anything about your error. I honestly, you can keep making errors. I was just, I was actually worried about you looking stupid. But you know what? Go ahead, make yourself look stupid. You know what? I don't care anymore. Keep talking. I mean, there could be all sorts of reasons. So don't include my potential reason in your thing because your argument is, i.e., that truth is universally preferable to error, and that truth is universally objective. I mean, again, if you mean, I don't know what he means by truth. Let me just go up and make sure. Did he define truth in here? Did he define true? Let's just see. Let's see. True. Let's see. True. Let's see. Definition of true. Definition of true. Oh, come on. No. Don't tell me that he didn't define it. Oh, he didn't. He didn't. Let's see. Preferences and arguments, preferences, universality. Oh my God, he didn't. Oh my God. So I don't know what he means by true. I mean, okay, look, I gotta just say this. All right, look, I'm gonna be eventually tackling this book written by a theist, and he gives definitions for his words before he goes into the argument. This guy's a non-theist, okay? He's supposed to know better. He's supposed to be better than that. But he's not. He's worse. He doesn't give definitions, so I don't know what the hell you mean by true. So, your error doesn't arise from merely disagreeing with you, but as a result of your error exists whether, okay, you being wrong has nothing to do with anything to do with me. That would have been a better argument. You see, either I'm right or I'm wrong. Okay, and my rightness or wrongness is irrelevant based on what you think, feel, say, whatever. And same with me. Whatever we think, whatever we feel, whatever we hope or believe, all that's irrelevant. Whatever is real is still real. And so if I mean true, if true just is a supplement for the word real, then whatever is true is true regardless of whether I know it or not. And so if you want to make an argument talking about that, then great. You just go, well, if it's true, then it's true. I mean, then if you say something that isn't true, then it's just not true. And the whole tacked on stuff about the other person just seems to be rather irrelevant to this entire thing. It's like one huge tangent, and then because of it, you've acquired all these possible logical. In fact, I'm not even going to call them possible. I'm going to call them actual logical fallacies, because it's nothing but a straw man. It's nothing but special knowledge. You don't know what the other person's intentionality is, and it honestly doesn't matter. You're right in a sense, but then you're only half right. You're right in that you being wrong in whatever it is still wrong, whether or not you accept it or not, whether or not I know it or not, or whatever. I could correct you and not even know that I was right, but just be accidentally correcting my correcting of you. But then if I did that and my goal was, or maybe I am correcting you deceptively, right? Like I'm correcting you thinking that I have the right answer when actually I have the wrong answer. And I'm doing so, or I'm trying, I think that I have the wrong answer, but I actually have the right answer, but I'm correcting you in hopes to deceive you into the wrong answer, but actually you get the right answer because you go with my correction. And so my desire had nothing to do with fixing your error, but everything to do with making you look bad, but actually it wound up kicking me in my own butt. So just take out the other person here, the non-existent opponent to whom you are referring to in this paragraph here, if you were to remove that, then there'd be nothing. I mean, well, there'd still be, the other premises you wouldn't even, I don't know why you're calling them premises, but whatever. You'd remove some of the problems with this at any rate. So just say whatever's true is true. Okay, great. Is that universal? Yeah. Well, obviously, reality is real, universally. Okay, great. The statement 1 + 1 is 29 is incorrect. Is that a universal? Yes, because that's just how math is, or something like that. There you go. It's fixed, and then you don't have all this word salad and nonsense stuff about the other person and what they, it's just unnecessary. So okay. So truth is universally objective. Well, now see, again, I don't know what you mean by truth. So I have to infer what you mean by truth here, and I'd rather not do that. When I hear truth, or when I say truth, I usually mean whatever is real. So real is what is universally objective. I would obviously, yes, that's correct. But I don't know what you mean by truth, so I can't necessarily agree with you. And this should have been a conclusion to an argument that you haven't given yet. And this is only the fourth premise. And I don't know. I'm going to keep complaining about these being called premises. There better be a conclusion at the end of this. Premise 5. An objective methodology exists for separating truth from falsehood. Possibly, maybe. That is possible. Let's see what he says here. If you disagree with me, but I tell you that you must agree with me because I'm always right, it is unlikely that you would be satisfied by the rigor of my argument, right? Because it's an appeal to authority. So yeah, or an appeal to minority of one, appeal to self. Yeah, okay. If you provided good reasons as to why I was wrong, but I just kept repeating that I was right because I'm always right, our interaction could be scarcely categorized as debate. I've had those conversations. It's kind of also, I gotta say this as a side, it's odd that your premises here starts with an example rather than the actual premise. I mean, that's just badly constructed. That's not how premises should be constructed, but that's just a side note. That's just a formal fallacy. All right. This does, let's see, the moment I provide some sort of objective criterion for determining truth from falsehood, I'm accepting that the truth is more than a matter of opinion. I mean, yeah, I guess. It depends what you mean by truth. Again, I mean, I'm not sure what he's trying to say. It's like, if you're trying to just say that whatever is real, then yeah, okay. So you're not talking about whether or not someone thinks ice cream is delicious. You're talking about something non-subjective, but then why not just say, I don't want to talk about subjective ideas like whether or not we like this or that food, or whether you want to eat meat or want to eat gourmania. I want to talk about objective things like, okay, gravity exists, and there's certain rules of mathematics, and there's a certain way that physics operate and things like this. Okay, those, and then those are objective things that we, that are just simply true. So that's what I want to discuss. And then, just say that. Why say it like this? This is kind of needlessly overly complicated, but okay, whatever. This does not necessarily mean that my objective criteria are logical. I could refer you to a religious text, for example. Yeah, that would, yeah, you could. I've had those conversations too. However, even if I do so, I'm still accepting that truth is something that's arrived at independent of mere personal assertion. Why? Why would that be the case? Like, The person that refers me to a religious textbook is not you're inferring ideas and intentionality in this straw man person. Maybe from their viewpoint, they think that their textbook, their holy book, oh wait, I forgot to show myself again. Oh jeez, this is badly written. Wait, is this your this is a premise? This isn't examples. This shouldn't be a that an objective methodology exists for separating truth from falsehood. Okay, so man, this is written badly. Okay, so is there an objective methodology? There might be, but that would be, this should be your conclusion, not part of a premise. This should be something that you're working towards showing is a thing, and then explaining what the objective methodology is and how it works and how it functions and what predictions it makes and how we can know it's correct or true all the time. And this all this other stuff is just irrelevant here. And this isn't anything that belongs in a premise. None of this. The only thing that you should have talked about was your objective methodology, which should be a conclusion to an existing argument that you didn't offer. Oh well. Premise 6, truth is better than falsehood. Shouldn't that have been like way a long time ago you said that? Like, I don't know. If I tell you that the world is flat and you're probably the world is not flat but round, actually it'd be obloid spheroid, since we're saying that truth is better than falsehood, but whatever. Then you are implicitly accepting the axiom that truth and falsehood exists objectively. No, stop inferring. No, not necessarily. You don't know what the other person's thinking. Stop it. And that truth is better than falsehood. Why not couch this in terms of asking the reader, if you want to involve the reader, fine, okay. Do you think truth is better than a lie? And just have that be kind of an open question. Like, well, I do. I think that it's better to have the truth than lies, or it's better to know what's real than imagined, or what have you. So it is the fact that the Earth is an obloid spheroid that we usually just refer to as round, even though that's not the actually correct terminology to use. We're just kind of lazy like that or something, and maybe I wouldn't even say it that way, just to make sure that I'm not strawmanning anybody, and just say, look, the people that I've encountered in my life usually have called the Earth round rather than an obloid spheroid, and I don't know why. That's just what we do. Perhaps we should try to say obloid spheroid instead. I don't know. Anyways, all right. I'd like to tell you I like chocolate ice cream, and you tell me that you like vanilla. Hey, look, it's the ice cream thing I was talking about earlier. It's impossible to prove that vanilla is objectively better than chocolate. Yeah, that's correct. That's called subjectiveness. Sorry, I got a thing in my mouth. That's objectively true. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah. The moment that you correct me with reference to objective facts, you're accepting that objective facts exist, and that objective truth is universally preferable to subjective error. How are you implying anything? Wait, what? What does this have to do with the next part? Okay. If I do this thing, and then you do this other... Wait, huh? This example doesn't even make sense within this thing. So if I do this thing, then supposedly this is what's happening. If I say this one thing and then you correct me, then you're implicitly accepting this axiom that truth and falsehood exist subjectively, which I don't know how I know that you're accepting anything. And also you're implying that this is better than this, which I don't know what you're thinking, so I still can't do that. So why not just say objectively the world is not flat, but and so there is a truth and a non-truth to this statement. And I am not talking about subjective things like, our preferences in ice cream flavors or whether or not we like ice cream in the first place. But couldn't I? And then this whole bit would be again something that you would be trying to make an argument for, or case for, that I want you to think that objective facts are better than okay, so you're saying objective facts is preferable to subjective error, right? But isn't objective facts also preferable to objective error? Why include subjective in here? That just confuses the whole thing. This is a mess. Rewrite this. This is a mess. All right, Pressel. What the fuck is Pressel? Premise, present, whatever. Number 7. Peaceful debating is the best way to resolve disputes. Well, depends who you ask. Oh no, more examples. Oh God, why? Why, God, have you forsaken us that I don't believe in you anyways? I guess that's why you probably forsake me. All right. If I tell you the world is flat... Wait, this again? Why don't you come up with a new example? Okay. If I tell you the world's flat and I pull out a gun and shoot you, this would scarcely be an example of a productive debate. Well, I win because you're dead. You don't get to make the debate anymore. Technically, I've won. I didn't win through logic, but you're no longer able to debate. So, oh man. So our disagreement would have been resolved, but only because one of us is left standing in the end. If you told me in advance you would deal with any disagreement by shooting me, I'd be unlikely to engage a debate with you. Well, yeah, but I'll challenge you to show that your thing is coherent and fix it. And if you give one logical error, then you have to voluntarily jump into a pit of spiders or something. I don't know. It won't kill you, but it won't be pleasant. But why would you? You shouldn't have examples. Why? No, unless it's clear that any debate relies on implicit premise that evidence. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, though. No, stop. Why? It'd be completely illogical to argue that differences in opinion should be resolved through the use of violence. Would it though? Some groups would disagree with you. So I mean, it may or may not be illogical. You have to show that argument. Then you need an argument to show that it is illogical, to show that a difference of opinion, which is now you've shifted topic, by the way, another logical fallacy. So now we're talking about differences of opinion rather than differences of fact. So if we're talking about that, then yeah, okay, fighting over that's kind of silly, but people do it. Killing each other over it is rather absurd, but people do it. What could we do to show that that's illogical? I'm not really sure. We could certainly show that it's not something that we want to happen. And hey, that kind of goes into your whole preferable thing, doesn't it? You prefer living to dying, probably. But then again, I wouldn't say you, because I don't want to assume anything about the you. I would just say I prefer it. Instead, I would have kept this all about my preferences and say, I don't know what you want or think or feel or whatever. I'm just going to tell you what my idea is and present it in the most comprehensive, logical way that I'm able to, and hope that you accept my idea. But instead, you're creating all these potential and possible and actual straw men in an effort to forward your idea. Okay, let's see. Debating requires objective methodology. Well, kind of, but it depends. Well, it depends what kind of debate you're talking about. If we both agree to a certain style of debate, then yes, it's objective from that point on. But subjectively, we're still deciding on what method to use. So it's like, okay, we're going to use Aristotelian logic, which means two premises and a conclusion. And so if you have more than that, then you're not doing the method, and therefore you lose automatically. Well, okay. And if you agree to that and you say, well, but I don't like this Aristotelian debate. Okay, well, what kind of debate would you like? I'd rather have it be a back and forth discussion than a debate. I mean, it'll still be a debate, but it's back and forth. And so we won't have premises. Okay, fine. Let's do that. Okay. So subjectively, we've agreed upon a system that we'll use. And then the objective standard will be to try to always point to that subjective thing that we've agreed on. It's like it's almost like objective morality that you're arguing for by coaching it in these terms. And I haven't even gotten to the part that annoyed me yet, made me want to do this video. Anyways, his preference for universal truth is preference of degree, but of a kind. What the hell? A shortcut that reduces your driving time by half is twice as good as a longer route. Well, in what? Both are definitely preferable to driving the completely wrong direction. Well, I mean, the longer route might be more desirable if you want a scenic drive, and then drive. I mean, you discover things by driving the wrong direction. So, I don't know. In the same way that truth is not just better than error, is indefinitely preferable or required. Well, I mean, I'd prefer to have what's real than not, but, there's just better ways you could have said that. And I suppose then you would want to use that to your point and be like, oh, there's a better way to say this than the crap that I did here. Okay, great. Do the better way then. Don't do this. Oh, God. Individuals are responsible for their actions. Well, kind of. But, I mean, how much nature is in us to make us slaves to the way that our brains don't always necessarily function in a way that will let us get along with society? If somebody, and there's been more than once where somebody's had something happen to them and they were later, like this one guy got in trouble because he was like addicted to certain type of illegal activity, but then it was discovered that he had a cancerous growth in his head that was touching a part of his brain, and he removed it. And as soon as they removed it, he no longer wanted to do the illegal thing. So then retroactively, he was found innocent of having done the illegal thing because he didn't really want to do it. He was forced to do it by, this part of his brain being touched. So this is pretty much wrong already. Oh, good. Oh, jeez. Oh, but to some degree, we might be responsible, but this would require a whole nother argument that you're not going to offer us, are you? Okay. Less fundamental. It doesn't do this, though, because no. Oh, jeez. If we're not ultimately responsible for our actions, like if determinism is true, then that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter what the consequence of that is. And, I guess you're arguing against, or wanting to argue against, deterministic behavior within humans, which might be true, or might be true to some degree or something. But that would require its own argument, and it wouldn't be a premise. Why? Wait a minute. Was that it? Oh, come on. Oh, come on. You don't even wrap up with conclusion after all that? You don't even wrap up with conclusion after all that. Oh my word. And he still goes on. Where's the part that I hated? I want to get to the part where I hated. I know it's in here because, Rationality Rules had it on his thing. There we go. Here it is. Here's the thing that made me want to do this video in the first place. All right. I'm going to cover this, and then I'm going to call it quits for now, because this thing's going to drive me nuts if I keep going at it. All right. So, syllogistically, in a way that breaks with syllogisms because it doesn't have a conclusion, but whatever, the proposition is the concept universally preferred behavior must be valid. Circular argumentation. This assumes itself as its own conclusion. You can't do that. That's not a thing that you can just do. That would require its own argument to show. This just pre-assumes that it's true and then says it's true. This sentence is false because I said it was false. Then it's like a paradox opens. No, come on. No, so the proposition is badly written too. So this thing has to be valid. No, you want to argue that this thing is valid, which would be, some other argumentation that wouldn't be. Oh goodness, I need to open MS Paint. Hold on. Okay, all right, I gotta graph this. All right, so this is circular. That's circular, so that's a problem. Let's get rid of all this. Let's see. So this should actually be a conclusion to something else that led to it. Like, I don't know. UP is either true or false. It's not. It is not false. So it would then be true. And then, of course, that's still not very good because you're not giving reasons for it, but at least then you've got the correct formatting going on, but you didn't do that. So you're just doing circular. It's a giant, just circle. Got it. Okay, so circle. Got it. All right. Arguing against oh, you don't even see MS Paint because I'm not showing you guys MS Paint. Oh God, okay, so there we go. Okay, so circled around that one. So circular argument. All right, arguing against the validity of universal preferable favor, just demonstrating some. No. This is circular. And I mean, if you argue against the thing that I want to be true, then that shows that the thing that I want to be true is true. Wow. I mean, you could just replace, this right here. You could replace all that with God. Let's just do that. Let's just go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and move this over here. Let's see. There you go. Yeah. There you go. So I've just demonstrated that your broken ass argument is presuppositionalism repackaged to make it seem that your argument is something different than presuppositionalism, which it isn't. Therefore, no argument against this can be valid, which would be a conclusion, not another premise, you twat. So basically, this thing is true because it can't not be true, which also assumes a conclusion. So therefore, God exists because it can't not exist. And if you argue whatever that it at all, you just prove it. That is. So even if you disagree with me, then I'm right. So this is very simple. So we're gonna play a game. It's called the I Win game. Okay. So we play the game I Win. All right. Here's the rules. If you don't play, then I win. If you play, I still win. Okay. And that there you go. There's that. There's how that works. Okay. Do you want to play? Too bad. I win anyways. You want to play? Okay, I win. And then if you say that's unfair, wait, I gotta. If you say rules are unfair, I also win. I want to play. There you go. That's what your thing is reduced to. Okay, so this is this guy's. It goes on from here, and it doesn't get any better, I suspect. And it's just going to completely make me go nuts. So thanks to Rationality Rules for talking about it. And I guess that this does do one thing at the very least. It shows that even a secular person can succumb to madness and insanity and non-logic. So we should use logic and reason. And we should not use presuppositionalism for anything because it's a bad idea. Which I guess just, in fact, all things prove his idea, right? Don't they? At the end of the day, all things prove that I'm right and everyone else is wrong. And if you disagree with me, then I'm right. Yep. Okay. Good luck with that. Not actually bad luck with that. I don't want you to have good luck. I want you to have bad luck. Lobsters exist. That's it. We can all agree on that. Maybe you can't. I don't know anymore. This is not a valid or sound argument, and I hate it. Goodbye. Goodbye for now. See you later. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. Lobsters.